Hello everyone and welcome back to another episode of GyalDem City, hosted by myself, Yannicka, and the lovely Rose. Today we're just going to touch on our last game against Southampton, and then we'll move on to a Fulham and Borussia Mönchengladbach preview. So, Rose, obviously we won. Pretty end-to-end game. But yeah, 5-2 against Southampton. What did you make of the game?
I thought we were okay. I know we scored 5 goals, but it certainly wasn't one of our best performances. I mean, the first 10 minutes, I don't know what was going on with City. We couldn't even get the ball. I thought Southampton first 10 minutes and what was going on. But, after 10 to 15 minutes, I did feel like we woke up, we settled into the match and, we started to create a few more chances. And, eventually our goal came through De Bruyne, which was good. Yeah. But then I don't know what was going on in that match. Not long after, defensive errors. I mean, I know people might say that the penalty was harsh. It might have been a bit soft, but I still thought it was a penalty. And, and what irritated me the most about that match was obviously the decision, the penalty decision that I thought we should have made. I mean, I've watched the replay of McCarthy fouling Foden about 30 times, and still I don't understand. That was not a penalty. I mean, the fact that the referee saw it, VAR saw it, and they still couldn't give that as a penalty. I mean, I'm not being funny, but I was furious. Imagine that match ended 1-1. I would have just been so angry. Yeah, fair play to City. We carried on, and it was nice to see Mahrez and Gundogan get those 2 goals just before half-time, because I feel like had they not scored those 2 goals, it might have been a different second half for us. It made it a lot easier for us in the second half. And then second half, that's when I thought it was a bit more end-to-end. I thought we started off a lot better, but still, defensively, I don't know what was going on with City in that match. I mean, the second goal, I thought that was a very, very poor goal indeed. I mean, like, what our defenders doing? It's like we just watched them just walk that ball into the net, basically. We didn't really do nothing. So I was kind of annoyed with that goal that we conceded, and I'm sure Pep was as well. We still scored 2 goals, which was good. I mean, I thought Mahrez's quality is just ridiculous. I always say this, but on his day, he's basically the best winger in the league, hands down. So it was nice to see Mahrez get the 4th goal, and obviously Bruyne get the 5th goal. But overall, I don't know. I don't think we were that great. But we still did what we had to do to win, which was good. But I'm just kind of a bit concerned that we are conceding a few more goals, and I'm hoping that it doesn't, follow us into the Champions League match. So, but yeah, overall we're okay. What did you think?
Yeah, I agree with everything you said, to be honest. I think the first 10 minutes, it was bizarre. So I don't know if it was kind of off the back of the derby, they were a bit nervous, like, what if we lose this? I don't know. But we settled down a little bit. I still think it was very end-to-end. They had quite a lot of chances. We had quite a lot of chances. But yeah, it was one of them. Defensively, we weren't good enough. Because, like you say, if that game could have ended differently, if it wasn't for the brilliance of De Bruyne and, Mahrez. But I don't know. I think the referee, that is a Stonewall pen. There's no way you can argue around it. Some penalties you can say, well, yeah, but I know, but that was a Stonewaller, Usually any sort of contact with the goalkeeper and the striker or the person that's attacking. So obviously we had him in a false 9, but the furthest person forward and the goalkeeper does not get that ball cleanly. It's always a pen. So I just don't understand how that's not a pen. What makes it even worse is the fact that he tried to stay on his feet. He didn't go down. So, like, maybe if he went down dramatically, they could have said, oh, we didn't give it because it was a dive. But it's like he tried to stay on his feet, and he's basically been punished for being honest. So that's where the problem comes into it, because it's like, now what do we do when we get in the box? We're going to have to go down. So it's just telling City players, just dive. Do you know what I mean? If you feel contact, and that's not what City want to do. So yeah, I can understand now why Sterling goes down so much, because he knows that's the only way he'll get anything. And, you know, a lot of the time when City players go down the box, I'm just like, get up, you ain't getting nothing, just get up. You know, and obviously with VAR, I thought that would correct that, because then VAR would look and say, okay, you know, that is a pen, but it's just making things worse, to be honest. So, yeah, I think in regards to that, it's Stonewall. You can't argue against that. But, yeah, the game was okay. I think we could have, it wasn't our best, like you say, it wasn't our best performance. I think the last couple of games leading up to the derby, we weren't too great. And I said that. But we were grinding out wins. And, yeah, it just seems this season that we can do it. Obviously, Man United was a little bit different. But I think we threw that game very early on. So I think we basically gave that result away just because of how early we conceded. So, yeah, it's one of them things. But, yeah, decent 3 points, I suppose. It's nice to see Mahrez. You know, we've discussed on here before about him. And it's like he's a quality player, but it's like when he doesn't play consistently, we don't see the best of Mahrez. And I think now that he's played the last 6 games, we are seeing the best of him. Yeah. And hopefully it'll continue. Do you know what I mean? So, yeah, we'll just have to see what happens there. We'll just get some of the comments before we move on. MB says, big up to you, Jan. Big up to Jan and Rose each and every time. Big up to you. Charlie says, hi, come on, City. Yep, hopefully we win today. MB says, VAR is in the mud, Rose. It's caused more controversy than anything else. Until we get people that can run it properly, it will remain the same, unfortunately. Yeah. I just think everyone is complaining about it, and I think it's one of them things. It's not just one team complaining. Mm-hmm. If it was one team, then I'd be like, okay, fair enough. It's one team. They're just complaining, but it's like every single team in the Prem are complaining. So they're going to have to do something about it. They can't just kind of leave it. Charlie said, I wonder if the ref gave the pen, would VAR overturn it? I don't think so.
Yeah.
I think if the ref gives it, VAR leaves it as it is.
Yeah, they like to go with the ref's decisions.
Yeah. Andrew said, hello, Jan and Rose. Big up to you. After in Skills says, big up Jan and Rose. Andrew says, you're the queen of YouTube, Jan City. Yeah, no, not quite. Big up to Carl. He says, can't understand why we think and expect other teams not to score. It's usual to keep a clean sheet. Do you know what? It's just because of the way the season's gone. Usually, we used to outscore other teams. So if they scored 3, we'd score 5. If they scored 2, we'd score 3. Like, we used to do that all the time. But right now, City have not been conceding. So it's so weird. Like, when we concede at the moment, it's kind of like, it shouldn't be like that, you know. But I just think what's worrying Man City fans is the fact that we weren't conceding for a long time.
Yeah.
And that gave a lot of people confidence in Europe, like you say. Whereas we can't afford to leak goals in Europe. And what we do is every time we play in Europe, we score enough goals to go through, but we concede too many goals and we end up going out on aggregate, basically. And that's the problem. If we were getting beat every season, I don't know, 4-1 and going out, I'd just say we're not good enough. But Man City, a lot of the times that we've gone out, it's been like 6-6. So it's one of them things. And he makes a point about Bayern have conceded. Bayern Munich leaked too many goals. And that's why I think Bayern Munich won't win it this year. I don't think they'll win it because they tend to leak a lot of goals. So Champions League, I'd expect them to score because they're the top teams in Europe. Do you know what I mean? I would expect them to score. I just hope that we don't leak too many goals because that's the problem that we've always had, you know. We beat Monaco 5-2. When you win the first leg 5-2, you should go through.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you should. And we didn't. So things like that is what makes me a little bit worried in Europe, if you know what I mean.
But we're like we're just being so sloppy. I think against Southampton, like the penalty, like it's the silly goals that we're conceding. That's like kind of irritating. It's like, I mean, I felt like we just couldn't be asked. And I just hope that maybe it was just a one-off game, but I'm just hoping that we're not like that in Europe. Like, because come on, like you can't just not be asked to defend a goal. Like, at least if I can see that you give your all, you know, you're trying your best to, you know, stop us from conceding, fair enough. If it was a good goal, fair enough. But it's just the fact that we're not even trying at times, which I really liking. But oh well.
Yeah, that's where most people are kind of thick, because it's not like fantastic goals that we're conceding. Do you know what I mean? Sometimes, decent, you know, but I don't know. Andrew says, I'm not blaming VAR for Man United's awful performances all season so far. Without VAR, then Fernandes wouldn't have so many goals. I suppose for Man United, it's true. Do you know what? Like, the issue was, because people are talking about you won anyway and stuff like that. The issue was, it was 1-1 when that penalty was ruled out. And like Rose said earlier, if we go on to draw that game 1-1, that referee has cost us that game.
Yeah.
Because Foden was going to score. So it wasn't like it was one of them opportunities where everyone was in the box and the ref took out Foden. Like, it was Foden and the goalkeeper in the box. If he gets past the goalkeeper, which he would have done if he didn't get taken out, he scores. It's 2-1. So yes, in hindsight, it's like, oh yeah, well, we won. But you've just got to think of like the point in the game. If that happens at 5-2, City fans aren't really complaining, you know, as much, because even though it's a stone waller, they'd say, well, we were, you know, maybe the ref didn't give it because we were already 5-2 up. But that's the issue. And, you know, sometimes in the way that it's kind of won Man United games that they weren't going to win, it could potentially have lost us that game if we didn't go and win it. So, yeah, it's one of them. Almaga FC says, away goal rule beats us every time. Exactly. I hate that. Actually hate that. Abdullah says, mic up and make them do post-match interviews. If they don't agree, ban them from the Prem, demote, or they resign. They do it in other competitions. Cricket, which I watch, they have, you know, and you know what, to be fair, cricket, they have like a certain amount of times that you can make a complaint. So you can't just like every time someone goes down, be like, ref. But I think the problem with that is if you've used up all your calls, do you know what I mean? Anyone could just take you out in the box, because if the ref misses it, you know, you'd be fine. So they can't really do that in the Prem, but they could definitely have them mic up, definitely, or at least explain after the game, like the managers come out and they have to explain their subs. Do you know what I mean? If Pep brings on someone like Laporte and he goes on to concede 3 goals in that game, they'd be asking Pep after the game, you know, what made you bring on Laporte? So they should realistically, you know, quiz the refs on the game. How come you gave that foul? You know, how come you did this? How come you gave that penalty? And stuff like that. They could ask them. But to be honest, these referees, they're trying to be famous, because really and truly, if the referee is good, you should know who it is. The minute you know who it is, that's because they're having a poor game. Ryan says, big up my beautiful flower and the beautiful rose, my 2 favourite Man City fans. He normally says that you're his favourite, but you're nice today. Andrew said, Bayern Munich goal power will outweigh the amount of goals they let in. That's true. That's why they've got where they are. I just think in the Champions League, depending on who they draw, it might not work, because you do have teams that are defensively good. So, you know, it depends. Like, they're not unbeatable, you know, this season anyway. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. Yeah, I agree with this. Almaga says, is changing up centre-back pairing every game the reason you think? That's what a lot of City fans put it down to.
Yeah, I guess so. But I feel like he does have to rotate to just prevent injury. I know he has, you know, in the past, Stones has picked up quite a few injuries. I think he's just trying to protect Stones a little bit.
Yeah.
But still, Laporte is still good enough. Do you know what I mean? Like, Ruben Diaz and Laporte, before Stones had like this great season, we would have thought Laporte and Ruben Diaz would have been like the perfect centre.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So I think he's still the right players out there to be able to do it. So it's just unfortunate that, you know.
Do you know what? I think it's like, we always talk about partnerships at the back and like the relationship that they have, and Stones and Diaz have this like bromance going on. So they're so in sync with each other, and that's why they're so good at the back together, because they're so in sync. When sort of Laporte comes into it, I'm not saying that he doesn't get on with Diaz, but they don't have that bromance. So it plays into it. You can see the communication is not as strong between them and stuff like that. That will come with time when they play together regularly. I think it will come. But yeah, I think because Laporte was out for a bit, he's like the third player trying to break through. And you know what? When he comes on, he's all right. He's not terrible or anything like that. I just feel for him because it seems to be like when he plays, we concede more goals. So I think from a Pep point of view, he's not going to trust him. And it might not even be him. It might be Diaz making the mistake. But it kind of falls on the fact that he played and we conceded more. So hopefully he can rotate properly and, keep some clean sheets like he did against Spurs, to be fair. So, we'll just have to see. But I think Champions League, we just have to go with Diaz and Stones. Yeah. We have to go with them too. And then Laporte in the Champions League, I think he panics a bit as well, because we've seen his worst performances for City in the Champions League. So yeah, I'd play Diaz and Stones, and then if we get an injury, then obviously he can go in. But I would save him for the Prem. So I'd play Laporte in the Prem, and I'd play Diaz and Stones in Europe. That's what I would do personally. Andrew said, Rose, a Londoner, respect from another Londoner myself. There's a question for you here. He says, hi, thoughts on Gab?
I think with Jesus, I think he offers us a bit more than goals. Yes, he doesn't always score the goals, but his work rate. I mean, whenever we lose the ball, one thing about Jesus is he's always going to try and win the ball back. He's always going to put pressure on the goalkeeper. So, I don't know, I feel like he offers us something else. I know he's not like Aguero. I get that. But he still does a really good job for the team. And I feel like he should maybe play more as a winger. I think he plays better in that position as opposed to up. But I honestly, I don't get the hate. I really, because if you actually watch Jesus in a lot of matches, he does create a lot of chances for us, and he always consistently tries to win the ball back. So I think he offers us a lot still, regardless of not getting as many goals.
Yeah. I'm so glad you said that, because I've been getting dragged for saying he puts pressure on the keeper. And I'm like, this is literally a part of his game. Like, you don't understand. Like, if you watch him, like you say, if you watch him, the goalkeeper is not free to just kick it where he wants. He's there. He's trying to challenge for it. And you know what? Over the seasons, we've won the ball back so many times in that area of the pitch where the goalkeeper's passed it to a City player. Do you know what I mean? Like, and it's not just him. Aguero used to do it. We've always had players that will do it, but I think he gets dragged because I don't think he's a striker. He's not a natural striker. He's not a natural number 9. And we know this because when he gets into the box, he passes the ball. A natural striker shoots.
Yeah.
Like you've even got people like John Stones are more likely to shoot in the box than Gabs. Like he doesn't. And yeah, I think he would be better in a different position if we're being honest. But he's a grafter, he's a hard worker, and that's why Pep loves him, So, I don't know. I think he does need to be more clinical, simply because if he's not, he can't be our number 9. He can't. I am assuming we're going to try and get a striker in, and they will become the number 9, and then Gabby will probably move, and probably change his number as well, because I think he's number 9 at the moment. So, yeah, change that, and we'll see a different role from him. But right now, I just don't think he's a striker, and it's kind of, he gets slated for his goal record, but that's not what I see him as. So yeah. Aaron United says, big up to him. He says, hey ladies, question for you. How far do you think you'll go in the Champions League? I'll leave this one to you, Rose.
Dan. Oh my God. This is such a tough question. I mean, I don't know. I think it also depends on who we get in the next round.
Yeah.
If we get a Bayern Munich, I don't know. If we get a PSG, I don't know as well. I know we can beat PSG, but PSG 4 goals. And sometimes we're just not clinical on the day. Yes, but sometimes it might not be our day in terms of scoring goals, and they might just be clinical on the day, and we could get knocked out.
Yeah.
I don't know, Jan. I really, really want us to get far, but obviously recent experiences, I couldn't tell you. Honestly, surely we have to get further than we did last season, surely. But honestly, I don't know. I couldn't tell you. I feel like now we are starting to concede a few goals. I'm hoping it doesn't, affect us in Europe, but it could. It could. But I don't know. I can't tell you.
Yeah, I've said it a lot. I don't trust Man City in Europe. Like, if it's in the Premier League, I'll be like, it's City. But yeah, Europe, I don't trust us until they prove me wrong.
Yeah,
I don't trust us. So yeah, it's up to City now to go and prove to the fans that they can do it. A lot of people sort of put it on Pep. Oh, it's Pep. At the end of the day, Pep is not on the pitch.
yeah,
These players are on the pitch. They have opportunities. We saw it under Pellegrini against Real Madrid. 0 shots. You're in a semi-final. It's 1-1. Do you know what I mean? Shoot. We score a goal there that puts them under big pressure. And we score a second one and we're through because we're away. It's crazy, and we just didn't have a shot. And to be fair, Real Madrid didn't have a shot as well. It was an own goal from Man City. Yeah. So it's just one of them things. But we've seen it before, and people love to blame the manager. And I just think, yes, okay, last time against Lyon, I would blame Pep for that, because that formation and the switching and changing and overthinking it, that came from Pep. And Pep has held his hands up and said, yeah, I overthought it. So we hope that he learns from that. But yeah, in general, them players are on the pitch. If Sterling doesn't miss that open net.
Exactly. Jesus as well.
We go through. Gabby, same thing, So the only person that can really hold their head up in that game is De Bruyne.
Yeah.
Excuse me, because he tried to get us back into it.
Yeah.
Sorry, I keep sneezing. But yeah, like, he tried to get us back into that game, but everyone else, you've got to blame the players to some extent.
Yeah.
Because they were the better team. It's not like we went there and Lyon were just better than us on the day. They were the better team and they just didn't finish. So, like you say, it's one of them. It would depend which Man City turn up.
Yeah.
If it's that City that are just clinical, they grind out the win. They, fight for every ball. They, that sort of City. I don't think there's any team in the Champions League that we cannot beat on our day. However, it depends which City turn up. If that City that played against Man United turn up, we're not winning. Doesn't matter who it is. So, yeah, it will depend on who we get, and it will depend on... I actually think if we play a bigger team, Pep won't overthink it as much, because we saw, like, against Real Madrid, pretty smooth sailing. But then when we come up against a Lyon, you're thinking it's an easier draw, and it ended up being much worse on the day. So... yeah, I think 2 legs will help us as well, because it gives us a chance to sort of, if we do have a bad game, we've got a second chance. Obviously, depending on how many we concede in the first game, we do have a chance. If we're 1-0 down, we still have a chance to go through. So yeah, it's one of them. We'll have to see who we get. But yeah, I'd expect City to go further. I don't think going from not getting past the quarters to winning it straight away is going to happen. I feel like we need to make another step. So maybe a semi, or maybe even the final, and then we go again. But yeah, I don't think we're going to just go straight away and basically go and win it this season. Yeah. I'd love us to win it this season, because I think the fans out there, a lot of Liverpool fans say, Man City fans don't want it, and it goes down onto the players and stuff like that, and it affects how they play. I'm not so sure. I feel like we are supportive in the stadium. Like, every Champions League game I've been to, we are supportive of the team. Obviously, we want our team to win. But yeah, I think booing the anthem and stuff like that, which I get it, because UEFA are corrupt as hell. But me personally, I don't do it, because the players, whether we like it or not, that's what the players want. And, I want what the players want. So... yeah, we'll have to see what happens. But this season, I think, will be a good season for City to go and win it, where there's not as much pressure because there's not going to be fans. And if there is fans, it's not going to be too many fans in the stadium. So, yeah, we'll have to see. Martian Ford says, is it Pep, if it ain't broken, don't fix it policy when it comes to tactics? Do you know what? I think this season he's learnt from it, though. Because last season it was very much like that. Like, we just played the same way. It wasn't working. We continued to play the same way. This season, Pep's actually changed it up. It wasn't working. We weren't playing well. And I think after the West Brom draw, yeah, they said, no, we're not having this. Apparently, Fernandinho went in on the players, said, we're not doing this. Pep said, I'm going to change something. And to be fair to him, he did. Yeah. And it's funny because the start of the season, everyone was saying Pep's finished because he can't change. He can't change it up. He can't rebuild, blah, blah, blah. And he's proven everyone wrong. So it's nice. Andrew said, VAR cost AC Milan a goal, which should have stood, which was so harsh as that goal should have been a goal. Yeah, I didn't see it, to be honest. Carl says, when I saw the lineup against United, I knew it would be a disaster. False 9 is the way to go for City. I agree. I said before the game that he should have played Foden in a false 9 and he should have played Fernandinho. And I think if he plays them two, we win that game. But yeah, it's long. Abdullah says, the people in charge of VAR are the issue, not VAR. Yeah, that's what people mean when they talk about. Obviously, VAR is a video, so that doesn't lie. The video doesn't lie. It's the only thing they can do is manipulate the video. So it's all about the people. It's all about the people. It's not to do with VAR itself, but it's how it is, how it is used, basically, that's wrong. MB says, Jan and Rose, when City get through in the Champions League, who would you both ideally like City to play in the next round?
No one.
Exactly, I was going to say that. No one. Definitely not an English team. I just think it's worse when you go out to an English team.
It is worse.
If we go out to Bayern Munich, not that bad. If we go out to PSG, again, I think they're going to win it. So I think we'd go out to the winners. Yeah, I wouldn't want to go out to Liverpool, Chelsea. Yeah, no. It's no. They're not.
On the Champions League. I think it's Porto. I think Porto.
Oh, yeah, Porto. Yeah, Porto for.
Yeah, maybe them. I wouldn't mind facing them out of the left. Probably.
Yeah.
But then again,
with Porto, we've played them twice already this season. So we're very familiar with their team, which is different. So it's like with other teams, we've not played them. Like Real Madrid, we played last season. So again, they're someone we're more familiar with. Yeah. But yeah, I wouldn't want to play sort of a Bayern Munich right now because we haven't played Bayern Munich for a few years. So it's kind of, I wouldn't know how we're going to fare against them. Yeah. Whereas Porto, like we beat them and drew with them. And I know it's knockout stages, so it's slightly different. But I do think, like Leon, like our record against Leon is shocking. And that's not just when we went out. Like our record before that was that they beat us. Yeah. So because of that, it kind of made us nervous going into that game. Whereas like a Porto, I think Pep would be quite confident going into that game, which would help. So yeah. Ryan says Laporte turns into Joe Gomez in the Champions League. You know what? He actually does. This is the problem. Misha says Gabriel is shacking. The way City fans cover him is odd. Never going to win the Champions League with his big chance misses. Do you know what? It's not even just him that misses chances. But like I say, he's not a striker, which is good because it means we're going to go and get one, which is what we've needed for a bit. And I think, to be honest, I think Pep trusted him because of how hard he works. And I think that derby would have been the final straw. There's no surprise that all of a sudden Man City are in talks with Haaland. So, yeah, thank you guys for slating him every day because you probably just made us try and buy a quality striker. Thank God. But, yeah, no one puts pressure on the keeper like Gavi does. It is 100% true. He decided to put pressure on Martial. Do you know what? We didn't even need to put pressure on Martial. Martial was not scoring in that game. So it's a waste of bloody time. Gavi, or as Jan calls him, Gabs, is just a passion merchant. He's actually not. But yeah, she said put pressure on the keeper because you did. He is atrocious. It's a basic thing. He is bad. Yeah, well, I don't think he's good enough. I just defend him because everyone slates him, and I don't think he deserves to be slated the way people, slate him. If people were kind of saying, "Is he good enough?" I'm not going to say, "Yeah, he's the next Aguero," because he isn't. The problem I have is people say he's absolutely shit, and he isn't absolutely shit.
Yeah.
He looks shit because in Man City's squad they're so good, but you put him in a different squad in the league and we wouldn't be having this conversation. So I don't know. Anyway, we'll go on to Fulham now. Obviously, it's tonight, 8:00, bit of a random kickoff. But yeah, what do you think the lineup will be, first of all?
I'm hoping, this is what I'm hoping for. I'm hoping for Edison. I'm hoping for Ruben Diaz and Stones back. Cancelo. I'm hoping for Zinchenko. Bernardo Silva. Gundogan. And I'm hoping for Fernandinho maybe, but I think he'll go Rodri. Yeah. It's crazy because I think now that De Bruyne is back, it's like he can't really play Bernardo Silva here and there. I don't know, like it's tough to get all of them into the team. I don't think when he played De Bruyne as a false nine, I think it was against Arsenal. I just didn't think it worked. So yeah. I think he kind of has to play one of them, either De Bruyne or Bernardo Silva. I think he will go with Mahrez. I think Mahrez is in great form.
Yeah.
Sterling maybe, but then he might play Foden. I'm not sure. And then, yeah, I don't know what he's going to do. Is he going to play Jesus? Is he not? Is he going to play false nine? I don't know. I think I think right now he has like a selection headache, and that's why he's just make a lot of changes now because there's just basically everyone's fit. So it's hard for Pep right now.
Yeah, I think it's one of them where he will have in his mind who he's going to play in the Champions League.
Yeah.
And the lineup will depend on that. So if he I know he likes playing Foden in the Champions League. He likes playing Ferran Torres in the Champions League.
Yeah.
Someone was saying the other day that Mahrez has hardly played. Like Mahrez only has like 200 minutes in the Champions League. So I don't know if he sees him more fit for the Prem or whether it was just because he started the season a bit poorly. So maybe Mahrez might start in the Champions League. Gundogan's always good in the Champions League.
Yeah.
He's always one of our better players in that. So yeah, I don't know. It's just kind of rotating everyone at the moment, seeing what works. I think sometimes, like the squad, like against Man United, when everyone saw the lineup, people were a bit like, I don't know. And, they were proven right, to be fair. So it's one of them things. I think today is Fulham. I think he will play Sterling just because he causes such a headache to fullbacks when he, gets into the positions he does. So, yeah, I think he will. Mahrez is undroppable at the moment. So I think he will still start Mahrez. I'd like to see a false nine, to be honest, because I think that's how we play our best football. But, yeah, with Pep, we don't know. We literally don't know. The only one that we know is going to start is Edison.
Yeah.
That's about it. Even De Bruyne could be on the bench. Who knows? But I think De Bruyne will play because he's getting back to his best right now. So definitely we'll see that happening. What do you think the scoreline will be?
I don't know because I feel like Fulham are actually playing really well recently.
Yeah.
I think they have a really good coach in Scott Parker. I think they're so difficult to break down. Defensively, they're really solid this season. Well, as of recent, actually. They've got Tosin and Anderson, who I think have a really good partnership. And then going forward as well, like they actually are very threatening with like the Maja and Lookman. So I think it's actually going to be a tight match for us. And I think the score will probably reflect this.
Yeah.
I saw them against Liverpool. They beat Liverpool. I thought they were exceptional against Liverpool.
Yep.
Spurs, even though they lost to Spurs, I thought they were really unlucky. think their goal was ruled out for a handball on Lamina, even though Lamina couldn't have done anything with his hand. So again, they are cost them the match.
Yeah.
But I think it could be either a 2-1 or just a 2-0 City. I think it's very tight. Yeah, what do you think?
Yeah, I agree. I think they've got one of the best defensive records in the league right now. So, yeah, it's one of them things. They're doing well going forward as well, like you said. So I think it is going to be a hard game for City. We might not even win. I'm hoping we do. I'm going to say 2-1 Man City, just because I have seen us grind out results. But I remember watching Man United away at Fulham, and they struggled. And I think it was only some like super assist or super goal, I think, from Pogba that kind of got them over the line. So, and that's when they weren't defending quite as well as they are now. So I think it's going to be a very hard game for City. I think we just need to be patient, pass the ball around like we do, control the game and just wait. And then hopefully a chance will come. A mistake will happen, so we just have to hope that we can keep it tight at the back and, do well going forward. But yeah, it's not going to be an easy game for us. Just get some of the comments about Fulham. I can't find it now, but I think it was Andrew who said that Fulham will be a difficult game for us because they play similar to Man City, the way they play. So, yeah, I think it will. Samuel says Man City should lay down for Fulham Football Club so Man City can relegate Kendall Rowan's Newcastle United to the EFL Championship. You know what? I actually like Fulham and I want Fulham to stay up, but we need to win this league. And I know people say it's over, but we need to sort of get to the end faster because, like we're saying about the Champions League, I don't want to have the pressure of, we've got to play Diaz and Stones in the Prem, and then we have to play them in the Champions League. We need to kind of be able to rest them and, go on. And because I don't think we're going to be too fussed about points. As long as the league is wrapped up, I think we'll be fine. We don't care about getting 96 points or whatever we can get. I don't think City care. So, yeah. Wayne says, Pep wants to give him success out of stubbornness. He has given no other players this amount of chances in his managerial history. Ruthless to everyone except him. Pep does have his favourites, to be honest. Sterling is another one. No matter how bad Sterling's playing, he plays him. Same with Mahrez in the past. Yeah. Mahrez has been awful, and Pep continues to play him. So I think we don't know what they see in training as well. And the thing is, it's like Mason Mount. Like Mason Mount is a great player, but every manager loves him. Yeah. So whether he plays well or not doesn't matter. He's going to get more chances because they seem to love him. So I just think Gabby works hard. And to be honest, if we're in a tight game where it's 1-0 and you need someone to hold the ball up, I would have him on. Because he holds the ball up, when, the last sort of 10 minutes of a game when it's 1-0 and you need to make sure you get them points. He's got his uses. I think people just kind of assume that, he doesn't do much. But actually, if you watch him week in, week out, you can see what he brings to the team. But yeah, he isn't clinical enough. I agree with that. He doesn't score enough goals. Mohammed says he hopes Fulham drill Man City today. Well, I'd say the same for West Ham tomorrow. Carl says, depends on the draw. This is Champions League. We can beat the hard teams. It's the Portos of the world we struggle with. True. I just think because we played them this season. Yeah. I just think we're a little bit more familiar with them than we would be against like a Dortmund. So, yeah, I agree with you. I would hate to come up against Dortmund right now.
Same.
Because of Haaland. Because Haaland, he seems to score every single game. And more than one. Wayne says, Bayern will batter you, overload your defenders like nothing you've seen. Yeah, everyone always says that every time we play Bayern Munich, and it doesn't seem to work out like that. So I don't know right now, because obviously we'll have to see. I just think in terms of Bayern Munich, like their defense is not as strong at the moment as Man City's. their attack is probably stronger than ours, but we still score goals. So it would just depend on whether, what kind of Man City team turn up, because sometimes we don't look like we're going to concede in a game. Do you know what I mean? Other games we look like we can concede every single shot against us. So it just depends on how City play at the back and how we play going forward. But yeah, I don't think it would be as obvious a Bayern Munich win as people think. It's happened a few times when we play Bayern Munich. Everyone always rules us out. Oh, it's Bayern Munich. And then, our record against them is 50% wins.
Yeah.
It's not as bad as people say. I know they're a different team now, but yeah. Ryan says, which Champions League exit hurt you the most? There's only one.
Ooh.
There's only one, man. Do you know what? Monaco, that was the best game I've ever seen at home. Away leg, I was a bit disappointed that we didn't just go and win that game. But I wasn't hurt by that, to be honest. Do you know what? I'm gonna say something different to what people are gonna say. The worst one for me was that Real Madrid game where we didn't even try.
Yeah.
Because, to be fair, against Spurs, we did try. We weren't great defensively, but we tried to win that game. Liverpool, again, we tried to win that game. That Real Madrid exit in the semi-final, didn't turn up. I'll never forgive Pellegrini for that, because I don't know what he was doing, but yeah.
Yeah. No, mine was the Spurs one. I think when Sterling scored at the end and I screamed.
That is a painful one.
That was painful.
Yeah. Do you know what's made it worse? Like, I don't celebrate when we score straight away. Like, I've never been one of them people, right? But that goal, everyone celebrated, right? And then this woman next to me, right, went, oh, look, VAR. So I'm like, what are you on about? So I looked at the screen and it said, like, VAR, checking for offside. I was like, nah. I said, it's not offside. Because, like, where I sit, right, it's like, you can see the line. So I was like, that's not offside.
Yeah.
And yeah, oh my God. And then it came back and it was like, that was the worst, to be fair. Actually, I changed my mind. That was the worst. Just because it's the way everyone celebrated. Like, it was like, we're through.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's why it's ruined it for me, because that's when I really thought with VAR, you can't even celebrate a goal.
Yeah.
Like, you really can't, unless like, I like the way City play at the moment, because you can tell 9 times out of 10 that they're onside because of the way they'll pass it around. It's not like, oh, they were offside, but yeah, it's not. Carl says we will win it. I think we will win it. It's a case of when, not if, right now. Malcolm says, big up to my sugar puff and my kiss from a rose. I think it means I kiss for you. Mohammed says, City fans, you can dream about Champions League final because it ain't happening. You know what is 100% certain? Man United aren't going to be in a Champions League final. That's the only thing that is 100% certain. You can't say 100% that Man City are not going to get to a final. Taekwon says, maybe your players can't do it on the big stage. I disagree with this, because every time we go to a final, we come out on top.
Yeah,
okay, the Wigan game, but that was self-sabotage, I have to say. I think when we do go up against, because people said this in the Community Shield against Liverpool, you're not going to beat Liverpool in a one-off game. We did. Every time we've gone up against Chelsea, it's like, you're not going to beat Chelsea. We do. So I think when it comes to finals and stuff like that, we do tend to come out on top. So I think if they got there, I would probably think that we can maybe do it. A lot of people get to a Champions League final and lose before they win. So maybe we'd need to do that. I don't know. But yeah, I think I definitely wouldn't rule out Man City in a final and say they can't do it in the big stage for a team that have won so much. I don't think you can really say that. You know what I mean? Like, we haven't gone to finals and lost. If we'd gone to finals and lost, then I would agree with you. Maybe we can't do it on the big stage. But every time Man City are sort of asked to turn up for a final, they do. I just think with the knockout stages, you just need a bit of luck on your side. And a lot of teams have had that, you know. Liverpool had a little bit of luck against us in the first leg. There was a goal that should have stood that got ruled out. I think one of their goals probably shouldn't have stood and wasn't ruled out. And they got a little bit of luck. They went through. And then, you know, the next sort of game was kind of, we were already struggling because we were chasing the game. And then I think we scored really early on. And then Liverpool almost equalised straight after or something like that. So, yeah, it was hard for City to get in that. I agree in terms of the Spurs game. It was so end-to-end. Like, if we had a better defence, we're not having them problems. But back then, we used to just concede. It was a case of we'll outscore you, which City aren't really doing at the moment, which is good.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, and I feel like if we got to the final, I feel like this City side will put in their all into that. The fact that we've just never got into one before, we've never won the Champions League before, I would expect the players to just have one of their best performances, because it's like we might not get to a final again, and this is like your best opportunity. So,
some of them know that if they don't win it, they're not winning it.
Yeah,
and that's the thing. Like Gundogan always says that obviously he went to a Champions League final and lost, so he knows what it feels like to lose in the final. And he's always said that he wants to win the Champions League, and you know, he scored a penalty in the final. So that just shows, you know, what kind of player he is. And, you know, he always turns up for us in the Champions League. I can't fault Gundogan in the Champions League. Like, even when he was struggling in the league and people were saying he's not good enough, I was saying in the Champions League, he's one of our best players. It always has been. So, yeah, I think if they get there, could they do it? I think they probably could. The only team that I would really hate to play in the final would be Liverpool, just because the pressure will be so much more. I think if we go into a final against PSG, we go into a final against Bayern Munich, I think the pressure's a little bit less because we're actually the underdogs in that game because we've not been there before. So I think it takes the pressure off us a bit more. Whereas I think if we go into a final against Liverpool, even though Liverpool will be favourites based on the fact that they've won it, people would expect Man City to win that game. And I think that's where it gets to our heads and we start panicking. You know, I think that would be worse for Man City than playing anyone else. Edin Dzeko loved the goal against Real Madrid, to be fair. MB says, Jan, why do you think Pep overthinks it when it comes to Europe? I just think it's... I don't really know. I think when he's gone out to teams that he shouldn't have gone out to, I think it's kind of scarred him a little bit. And now when he comes out, I think if we get knocked out by Barcelona, Bayern Munich, I think Pep doesn't overthink games against the I shouldn't say it because they're in the Champions League, but the smaller opposition like Lyon, you know, the ones that you wouldn't expect to win the competition. So yeah, I think he does overthink it. I think the players need to get past the mental hurdle as well. I think a lot of it is on the players. I think it's not that they can't do it on the big stage because they miss chances in every game, Man City. It's not a case of they just miss chances in these big games. City always will miss chances, and that's why Haaland, for me, is a must because we need to get over the fact that we need, you know, 5 shots on target before we score a goal. Like, there was a game this season, can't remember which game it was, and we were very clinical. Like, I think we had 3 shots, 3 goals or something like that, and we haven't really seen that from City. But we're going to need to play like that in Europe because that's where you get free chances. Against Bayern Munich, we will probably get free chances. If you don't take them chances, you go out.
Yeah.
And Man City need to sort of get someone that, if we get free chances, they put away 2. That's what we need. And, you know, we don't have that in Gabby. You know, I'm not going to lie. We don't have that anymore in Aguero, just because even though I still think he is capable, he's not fit enough, you know. So when he comes in, it's getting back into the swing of things. Maybe he can play today, have a great game, and then start against, maybe come on today at the end, score a goal or two, and then go out and play against Mönchengladbach and score again. Who knows? But he's not at his best right now. Do you think there's any other reason why I might overthink it, Rose? Because I don't really get it.
No, I thought Liverpool, when we got knocked out, I thought Liverpool were just better than us. But Spurs, I think in the first leg, I did think he overthought it, because we would normally just play like attacking football. But I felt like in the first leg, I don't know, I think he wanted to get a draw, but we lost that match. And obviously, the next leg, it's like you just have to play open. You just have to attack because we have. I don't know. I think the Spurs one was because we had lost. I think did we get knocked out to Liverpool first and then get knocked out to Spurs?
Yeah.
I think, like I said, mentioned it before. Playing a Premier League side in the Champions League it's just annoying because you could beat them home and away in the Premier League.
Yeah.
And it's like you don't even know what you're doing anymore. Like, you know what I mean? But then the Lyon one, I just don't get it. I know that we hadn't beaten Lyon in previous seasons.
Yeah.
I don't get why he overthought it. But either way, he still changed it in the second half. And sorry, but Gabby and Sterling, you have to score those goals. Pep isn't the reason why. Yes, but I don't think he's the reason why we've been knocked out of the against Lyon. So, yeah.
Yeah, like I said before, like it's one of them things the players have to take. I know De Bruyne was really angry after the game, and I don't blame him because he tried everything to win that game.
Yeah.
But it's just like, yes, blame Pep for the lineup, but every lineup, like right now, it's even worse. If we go out this season, like Man City's lineup right now, whoever plays is capable.
Yeah.
So we have a like almost, two 11s that could potentially cause problems. You know what I mean? If you think about Spurs' first 11 that got to a final, man for man, are they better than City's, backup team? Like, now, apart from Kane, it's not really the case. So, and to be fair, right now in our backup team, you probably play a false nine in our first team. So the backup team would have Aguero in it. So even then, it's Aguero and Kane. So, it's not as far apart as you'd think. And they got through. So it's, City just need to do better. They need to do better. And I'm hoping Pep has acknowledged that he overthought it. So I'm just hoping that he sort of learns from that and then just goes out, plays our best game. If we get beat playing good football, playing how we play, I don't mind. Like that Monaco game, great football in both games, and we went out on aggregate. But yeah, it was one of them things. That 5-3 though, the minute we conceded 3 away goals, I was like, we're going to struggle. And we actually came back to win 5-2, but it wasn't enough. I think 3 away goals, you can't be conceding that. And once you do that, the chance of you going through are very, very slim. Anyway, so yeah, we'll see. Conrad says, big up Jan and Rose. Is there anyone from City's academy who excites you? Hopefully United don't let me down on my birthday tomorrow. Oh, big up to you for your birthday tomorrow. I'll try and remember. Is there anyone from the academy? For me, I'd probably say Delap looks clinical.
I was going to say Delap as well.
Yeah. There's a few players that have kind of come into City a little bit. Doyle looks good when he comes in.
Yeah.
I think he'll be a great player. Who else? We've got quite a few clinical strikers coming through, Not even Delap, just below, like under 18s and stuff like that. Like we have some good players in there. So yeah, I'd be quite interested to see how many of them break through. We've got Benabe, however you say his name.
Oh yeah, I remember him. Yeah.
Yeah, he's decent. So yeah, I don't really watch. I can't claim to watch academy football, to be fair. But the ones that we do have, they're pretty decent. It says a lot that Sancho didn't make it through when there was other players like Foden. So it just says a lot. It's just. We'll have to see who comes through because sometimes you have an academy product that you think, yeah, they're going to be great. And then they come through and they don't really shine as much as you'd expect. So, yeah, I think we'll have to see. 1 minute. I've lost their comments. But yeah, quickly before we get onto the comments and then close up. We'll talk. Obviously, we've been talking a lot about the Champions League. What's your prediction for the second leg? Obviously, we're 2-0 up. We're gonna be at home, but not at home.
Yeah,
so it'll be interesting to see what happens. But yeah, what do you think the score prediction will be?
Do you know what, Jan? I'm just hoping that we don't concede an early goal. Because I think an early goal, it just brings on the pressure.
Yeah.
Anything can happen.
Yeah.
So played the way that we played in the first leg, and we just get the job done. I can see another 2-0. But obviously, if we defensively go in the way that we've been the last few matches, and we concede an early goal, then it could be a lot harder for us. But I'm just hoping that we can get the job done and just win 2-0.
Yeah. I think I agree with you. I think whoever scores the first goal is key. Yeah. If City score the first goal, I think we'll wrap it up. If they score the first goal, City at the moment, when we concede the first goal, we panic. And I don't understand why, because earlier in the season, we weren't doing that. So at the start of the season, we were doing it. The middle of the season, we weren't. And towards the end, it looks like we're doing the same thing again. And I just think we need to keep it calm. Like, if we do concede first, just play our usual football and, try and defend well. And then, we don't go out if it's 1-0. So we just need to keep with that. One thing I would say is that our home form, we seem to look a bit more shaky at home than we do away. So I think the fact that it's at home but it's not at home might actually help us a little bit, because we seem to be, especially in Europe, we seem to be able to go away and perform quite well. So yeah, I think it might benefit us that it's not at home. It's kind of like Liverpool. They're struggling at Anfield at the moment. They went to Budapest and won quite easily. If they're at Anfield, maybe they don't play that well. Who knows? But yeah, I think we'll have to see. Misha says, watch Bayern in Europe. They look more excitable. The league, they take it for granted. Champions League, they look on it. As far as I'm aware, the Bundesliga is not wrapped up.
I don't think it is.
So I think, let me just double check. But every league in Europe is not wrapped up yet. So a lot of these teams, like Atletico Madrid, if Atletico Madrid knock out Chelsea, if they knock out Chelsea, they're also competing for the league. Bayern Munich are 2 points clear at the top of the league of Leipzig, who have just gone out. So they're going to have Champions League football every week, while Leipzig don't.
Yeah.
So it will depend on how they are in the league, because if they lose their next game and Leipzig win, Leipzig are in a better position to go on and win the league. So yeah, I think normally I agree with you. The Bundesliga's wrapped up. They can focus on the Champions League. But I just don't know this season, because they're not clear. City are actually probably one of the furthest ahead across the European league. So yeah, I think obviously it's the same in Spain. Barcelona are now out. Barcelona are close to Atletico. Like, if they do beat Chelsea, they've got to juggle the two of them. And I think that's why we've struggled in Europe as well, because the league is never wrapped up. So we've always got to sort of play our best team in both.
Yeah.
Whereas this is why I'm hoping, if Man City can win today, if we can win our next game, after that knockout, obviously, Mönchengladbach, if we can do that, I think in the next stage, hopefully we're a little bit further away from Man United and closer to the title. Malcolm says, I feel like you guys can get far in the Champions League with the progress you've made. Definitely defensively. I really think if you look at some of the squads, if you look at some of the squads that we've had when we've gone out in Europe, a lot of the time it's been Otamendi and another person at the back. Before that it was Lescott. Like, we've not been going out with solid defenses. So yeah. We'll see. Obviously City always have a bad game in them. Always, but yeah, I don't know.
I was like, do you feel like our defense doesn't really get tested? I know it sounds ridiculous, but I feel like a lot of times where you just have the ball a lot, and
Yeah,
you really have to defend that match. I think I saw when we played at the Etihad, you know, the likes of Salah, Mane,
yeah,
just the way that they were just able to ping one ball into
yeah,
Salah, they're already in. I'm just, I just hope.
yeah.
That's the only thing that I'm a bit worried about. But apart from that, I think we
Yeah.
fine.
Yeah, because I think like sometimes it is very easy to go for our midfield. And
Yeah,
especially against Man United, we saw it. And this is why Fernandinho was key in that game, because Fernandinho does not let Luke Shaw make that run.
yeah,
He's taking him out. Even if he gets sent off, he's taking him out.
yeah,
So that doesn't happen with Fernandinho on the pitch. I don't think the penalty happens with Fernandinho on the pitch.
yeah.
I think Fernandinho handles that, so Gabby doesn't have to. So yeah, things like that, it changes everything. But you know what? I don't know whether Fernandinho can come into that side. But yeah, I think there's certain teams where we need him. If they're going to play counter-attacking football, we need Fernandinho because he is the best at it at our club. Good point. It is always hard to retain. Don't think there will something about it, but bookies fave. Do you know what? I don't see them retaining it. It's not impossible. It's been done before. Technically, they are the best team in Europe. They've just won the sextuplet. So yeah, it's one of them. But I just can't see them retaining it. I actually think it's PSG's year. I think they got to a final last year and lost. They've done everything but win that. And, you know, these players that they bought have been brought in. People talk about Pep's been brought in to win the Champions League. What do you think Neymar got brought in for? What do you think Mbappe got brought in for? They've got brought in for the same reason. Now it's Poch. Tuchel got sacked after winning everything but the Champions League, you know. So, and he got to a final and still got sacked. So if Poch doesn't win it, Poch will probably get sacked as well. It's one of them things. But to be fair, Poch might not even win the league this year. So they have to win the Champions League. Like they have no choice. If you look at PSG at the moment, I think they're second. They're second on 60 points, so they're 2 points behind Lille. I do think PSG will do it. I think they will. But yeah, they're not having the best season in the league, so I think even more so they have to go and win that Champions League. Big up to Zane. He said, big up the girl as always. Malcolm says, would you guys focus on the league or on the Champions League? Do you mean in general? Because I think right now we need to get the league wrapped up, but we also need to go further in the Champions League. But I think the way the fixtures are for us right now, if we win today and Man United don't win tomorrow, I don't think we need to focus on the league to win it. I feel like we can win the league without focusing on it per se, especially because if we do beat Mönchengladbach, there's a few weeks before we go back to the Champions League. So we should have time to sort of focus on the league and then go back into the Champions League and try and get over. Mish said City will slap Chelsea over 2 legs. We've not played Chelsea under Tuchel, to be honest. We haven't actually played them. I do think we're better than Chelsea. But yeah, Carl said, I'd like us to knock Liverpool out of the Champions League. To be fair, this current Liverpool team and the current City team, we should be knocking them out. But City and Champions League doesn't give me too much confidence. One second. Wayne says, no, Poch is a hindrance in my view. The French media doubt him severely. I think it's just because he hasn't done it before.
Yeah, I agree.
It's simply on that. Like, it's sort of the reason why people don't rate Pep when he wins trophies, because it's like, well, he hasn't won the big one. But, you know, if Poch came to City and won 3 trophies, they'd be saying that's his first 3, big trophies. So, yeah, it's a little bit different. I wouldn't say he's outclassed Pep, to be honest, because it was 6-6, on aggregate. And then he went through. They got a bit lucky against Ajax because that was like dying seconds. you know, and then they went to the final and didn't turn up. So I don't know how not turning up in a final is outclassing someone that's won it twice. But anyway, it is what it is. And there's no way Martial scores from there. There's about 10 players around him. There's absolutely no way. He's not even clinical. Like, Gabby's got more goals than him, which says it all in the league. 1 minute. Trying to find. Wayne says he will play Gabby again. Pep's fave, the same man who been Ronaldinho and Eto, yet adores. Gabs, I'm so confused. To be honest, like, he doesn't. He's not his fave. Sterling is his favourite. Sterling plays every single game when he's fit, apart from now when he's resting him. But he's only resting him for the other games. He's not resting him because he's not dropped him. Ryan says, Rose opinions on Mahrez. I already know Jan's thoughts on him. You know that I love him.
Yeah. Ryan, you already know. I think on his day, he's the best winger. I think he's better than Salah on his day. Honestly, his left foot is ridiculous. Literally, Mahrez is that good. So yeah.
Yeah. Wayne says Mahrez is better than Bergkamp ever was. I think he's just trying to rattle Arsenal fans. Foden and Bernardo need to play. I agree, them too. Especially in a bloody derby, man. What the hell? So annoying. Do you know what? You know what I like about Bernardo? Like, he hates Liverpool, right? And it's funny because it's like a lot of our players over the years have been kind of too humble. Like, you get like Aguero, who like says he hates Man United, right?
Yeah.
But it's like a lot of our players, they're kind of just like, they're too nice. Do you know what I mean? It's like, you're not supposed to like certain players, like certain teams. Like, you're supposed to, as a City player, you're supposed to hate Man United. Like, that's how it's supposed to be. And, you know, some of our players, it's like, they're too nice. So I like the fact, I know people hate Bernardo because he, you know, he goes in on Liverpool fans and stuff, but that's what I want to see.
Yeah.
You know, I want to see that. I don't want to see that whole, like, you know, people are getting onto Firmino because he likes all the pictures of his friends. So say, for example, City beat Liverpool, but Gabby scores, he'll like the picture. So Liverpool fans are like, why are you liking a picture that you know, we lost? I get that they're friends, but it's like, there's certain lines that you shouldn't really cross. Don't like his picture that day when he beats you. Like it next week when he beats Leicester. Do you know what I mean? Don't like it this week when he beats you, you know? And it's just like, there's things like that I think, obviously, as fans, like, they don't really appreciate players that do that, you know? Aguero's one that he has always been. I know he's friends with Man United players. He has Man United players to his house all the time, but does he say that? No. He says that he wouldn't take a single Man United player in the City squad. He'd rather play with 10 men. And he says that when he sees a Man United player, he crosses the road. That's what I want to hear. I don't care whether it's true. That's what I want to hear. Like, come on now. Ryan says Fulham ain't going to be a difficult game for City. Only Liverpool can make it a difficult game.
No, I think they beat Everton. They're going to be difficult. I know they are.
Yeah, they are. The most you can get is 95, so pretty irrelevant. I agree. We've got the 100 points. We don't need to do that again. So yeah, we'll see. It's all good, Jan. We love Gabby too. Imagine Haaland's side wins the Champions League. You know what? Champions League is all about moments. It's all about moments. So could Haaland win it? Maybe, because it's moments. You know, if Tottenham can get to a final, Dortmund can get back to a final.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I think in a final, they're up for it. They're definitely up for it. So I don't know. That's a player like Haaland could win you. You know, it's kind of like Leicester when they won the league. Like, Vardy was on fire every week. Mahrez was on fire every week. Kante was brilliant all season. Do you know what I mean? So because of that, they were able to win the league. Champions League, it's about moments. And like you were saying earlier, Sterling and Gabby had the moments and missed.
Yeah.
You know, last season, to be fair, before that, in the game before, Gabby had chances and he won and he scored and we won. So it's all about moments. If you put your chances away, you've got a chance. Dortmund are quite leaky at the back as well. They went through 5-4. So it just depends if they come up against a better defense and they, they can't break down the attack. Will they concede goals at the other end? Maybe. Yeah, Mish said this Bayern is better than past incarnations you face. Lua was not the Polish newt back then. I agree. They're not going to be an easy team. Obviously, the one team you don't want to face is probably them. But I would rather face them than Liverpool because we will overthink a game against Liverpool. We won't overthink a game against Bayern Munich. Mustafa says Diaz isn't all that. Just attack him on the break. He can get exposed. You know what? All players make mistakes, but he's 23. He's come in and he's made us. He's hardly conceded that many goals.
Yeah.
So it is what it is. MB says, Jan, what youngsters do you think will break through? I think Tommy Doyle does. Simply because, he's already played a few games. He's looked good when he's played. I did like in that Cheltenham game, we saw a bit of Claudio Gomez.
Yeah.
I'd like to think that I know he's not quite a youth player because we kind of bought him, but him, I think he can do it. Maybe. He's a little bit small. He definitely looks like a kid amongst men. So I think he probably needs to get a bit stronger. So maybe he'll go out on loan and then come back. Who knows? But yeah, it just depends on what we do in the transfer window because I think if we get Douglas back, I think they play the same position. So it will depend on that as well. The Monaco game is the best game I've ever seen live. That was a game and a half. I was fully entertained. And yeah, that is mad. We're going to wrap up in a sec. Honestly, Jan, your heart must have been crushed. How did you not cry? Those are heartbreaking moments. Do you know what? Man City don't make me cry for the wrong... the only time I've ever cried over Man City was when Yaya Toure scored that goal in the final against Stoke. Yeah. Because, honestly, not that I didn't expect to beat Stoke because it's Stoke, but I just thought, this is our first trophy. I cried. The Aguero, I didn't actually cry. I was too busy celebrating, smiling. People were hugging me that I didn't even know. I was praising my brother-in-law because my brother-in-law, right? Every time he goes to Man City, he's got 100% win rate. So I sent him to Barcelona game when I was in LA. I was I'm going to LA. Can you go to the game? He went. We won 3-1. Honestly, every time he goes to Man City, they don't lose. And this guy, when we won that league, some guy came from nowhere and was like, thank you, you're my good luck charm, and kissed him on the head. Because honestly, every time he went, City don't lose. It's mad. It's actually mad. His record is 100% wins, not even a draw. It's mad. And he used to come all the time. We used to go to games together all the time. So yeah, him. I was too busy, but when I got home, it hit me because me and my dad, we just went straight home. We didn't go out partying in town like everyone else did. We just went straight home. And then my auntie, I had a uni exam the next day. So I went to my room and I was just writing notes. And basically my auntie came around with a cake and she this Man City cake that she bought. And so we ate the cake and then, it was one of them things. And then obviously my mum had 3 foster kids and they got adopted the next day. So between being overwhelmed with happiness and overwhelmed with sadness, I just broke down when I went to bed, cried myself to sleep. But it was because my little baby was leaving. Because this baby was my child. She came to us at 5 months old, and then she left at nearly 2. So yeah, she was my child. So I was very emotional that day. But I don't think it was just because City won the league. Yeah, I actually agree with this. The only thing that I think is Pep. That's the only thing that gives me hope. Teams generally do get to a final and lose before they win. That is how it has gone over the past years. So whether that happens to us as well, I don't know. No, Ryan, we don't want that. F that. No, thanks. Yeah. Do you know what? We've got big wins in Europe. We have over the past, but it's the smaller teams that we struggle against. That's the problem. Barca and Real are no longer a threat. Yeah, I don't think they're going through, to be honest. I think Real Madrid will get through the round. But I think whoever they play next can beat. I think everyone else in the competition can beat Real Madrid in the next round. I don't think, you know, Chelsea can beat them, Liverpool can beat them, City beat them last year, so obviously we can. Porto, all of these teams can beat them. Malcolm says, I miss Aguero. Me too. Flawless is awake. He says, salute to the two queens. We're going to wrap this up in a sec. Malcolm says, UEFA Champions League is basically UEFA Moments League. True. That's why you can win the Champions League without being the best team in your country. You can't win the league without being the best team in your country. That's the difference. One Rovers vlog says, big up Yannicka and Rose. Big up to you. The difference now is we have a natural leader in Ruben Diaz. I agree with that. 1 second. I don't think he's top 5. I think he's top 2. And I'd put him second.
Yeah.
In the top 2. That's just what I would say. Because the thing is, people talk about a range of different things. It's funny how people's agendas change. When they talk about certain players, it's, but look what they've won. Yeah. When they talk about Aguero, it's, look at his goal record. You can't have it both ways. You have to look at both of them together. And who has the record that he has and has scored the goals that he has. Do you know what I mean? Like, yeah, you can argue Andy Cole. But yeah, I just think that both of them together, the eye test, the stats, and the trophies won. And if you think about it, he single-handedly won Man City a league as well.
Yeah.
So if you take all of that into account, then he's got to be up there. And, you know, the only person that I would probably put above him just because of how good he was as an all-rounder would be Thierry Henry.
Yeah.
But if you look at trophies, it's you know, it's a bit different. So, yeah, I would only put Thierry Henry above him. You know, people can bring up Suarez, people can bring up all these players, but what did they win, you know, with that great goal scoring they have? Because, you know, it's the same for Salah. You know, Salah scored a lot of goals and won trophies. So Salah's got rated highly because he's not only has he scored a lot of goals, he's backed it up with trophies. You know, so you've got to look at it like that as well. But yeah, big up to everyone in the chat. If you haven't already, like the video, subscribe to the channel. There's one more question that I'll get to before we go. It says, Jan, what do you think Foden can go on to achieve at the club level and international in the senior team? Talented player, David Silva 2.0. I hope so. He's already won everything but the Champions League at 20. Yeah. So I think he'll win everything. I think he's not going to leave Man City. He said he's not going to leave Man City. Man City aren't going to let him leave unless he declines significantly. But yeah, I don't know what you think, but I think he can win everything, to be honest. Maybe not the World Cup, just because England.
That's but yeah. I think you can win everything apart from the World Cup, only because England, I think there's better teams you know, in the world than England.
Yeah. I'd love to see it, though. He's already won the World Cup with just the kids one, so maybe he can win the men's one as well. Who knows? I think it'll depend on how City go. Not how City go, how England go going forward, what manager they get. I think if Pep decided to join England as manager, they will World Cup. But yeah, it is what it is. But thank you, everyone, for tuning in. We will be back next week, hopefully. But yeah, thank you for tuning in. Like the video, subscribe, share it across your socials. Ryan is big enough himself because he was the first one to come on. So yeah, big up to you. And yeah, we'll be back next week.